Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Straightforward Farming Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Reed, alongside Nick McCormick. And once again, it's been a hot minute since we've been sitting at this table.
Yes. We'd like to apologize. We once again would tell you we'll do better, but we all know.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, but it's not for lack of wanting to.
Exactly.
In our defense, we have sat down and tried it a few times, or started to get things going, and then people show up, and that's the end of it.
Exactly. Now, we might have to apologize on the audio. I'm not sure. This is the first podcast in the machine shed.
Yeah.
Since we got booted out of the podcast room in the house. So if it's a little echoey or something don't sound right, we'll just see how this one turns out, and then we'll tweak it on the next one.
Yeah.
Beggars can't be choosers. So if you guys want to hear this, you're just going to have to deal with it.
This is what we got to work with today.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, wrapped up with harvest, wrapped up with fall tillage. Harvest was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it could have been worse. One more rain in there sure would have been nice. But
yeah, I mean, our crops weren't bin busters by any stretch of the mile, but corn was 180 to 200, depending on where you's at, which for what it went through, I'll take that. I mean, that was pretty hot and pretty dry.
Yeah. I'm south of you a ways. Ours wasn't as good there. But it's amazing to me how much 2/10 of rain made.
Yeah.
Like there's a strip in there that had 2 extra tenths, and that was several bushel.
Yep, exactly.
That was a big deal.
Bean yields were, I don't know if dismal's the right word, but everybody I talked to, low 40s to, some guys had some upper 50s, but I think mid to low 50s caught the vast majority of them.
Beans were not awesome. And beans nationwide from everybody I've talked to this year just cut terrible.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that can be. Like you talk to places that were wet, you talk to places that were dry, and they all cut the same, poorly.
Yeah.
You know, even like we were cutting beans one day, it got late. We called it a day. Next day started fairly early because this year you could start fairly early. And they cut great the next day.
Yeah.
The day after that, no, they're not really that great again.
And
I was in the same field.
Yeah.
The first 2 days I'm talking about, I'm like, how did they go from not cutting great today to cutting good the next day? I don't know. It was, of course, we were done with beans by the time they probably were going to cut good.
Yeah.
Even though they were still dry and they weren't really green stem. They just cut hard. Took a lot of fuel. They just thrashed hard. I don't know what the deal was, but.
Boy, the wheat around here, in my humble opinion, looks absolutely terrible. I don't know what it is.
It looks horrible.
Everybody planted it early-ish, and I mean, it was dry when they planted, but then hell, we had 2.5, 3 inches of rain on it.
Yeah. They always say you want to plant in a dust with wheat.
Yeah.
Well, it was darn sure dusty, and it.
Oh, there's fields around here that ain't a 60% stand. I mean, and I'm not saying it won't come. Sometimes wheat will lay there and it'll come up in the spring. It's fine, but
it's one of those deals like you could have did with a fertilizer spreader and dissed it in and probably been better off.
Yep. I know I did see a couple fields that look okay or even good, but the vast majority of it looks like absolute hammered hell.
It does not look good.
No, but time will tell. Like say by spring, you may never know it. I mean, I know I had an old neighbor years ago, helped him farm when I was a kid, and it was one of them wet years. Things were all fucked up, and hell, he didn't plant wheat till like the 1st of December, and hell, by spring it all come up and said made a good crop, and that's been far back in the 80s, but so.
Yeah. I don't know. It definitely doesn't look good right now.
No, it don't. But
the good news is it's not worth that much, so it won't matter anyway.
Exactly. I didn't plant any, so I don't care what it looks like.
I didn't either. Yeah, I'm good. I'm all good there.
The old poverty grass.
Yeah, there. I got some ground that should have it on there, but harvesting in the July heat doesn't excite me too much.
Yep. No, I had a good fall. The old 9610. Never had a single break. Well, I take that back. Right out the gate, the very first day harvest, I'd only shelled 10 acres of corn. And on the left-hand side of the machine, on these old ones, your tailings return comes up the side of the machine there, and there's a little bitty hex shaft in there. It's only about, maybe a foot long that runs from your bottom auger. It's on the bottom end of the elevator.
Yeah.
And somehow, some way, that shit come loose in there. It's like it slipped out of one side of the bearing or whatever. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, of course, it wadded the chain up, but it didn't tear nothing up. So shut it down, got the shed, and took it all apart. And I thought maybe that shaft, something had got wedged in there and like bent the shaft. I didn't know. And got it all apart. And hell, everything was totally fine. So while I had it apart, I just put 2 new bearings in it on each side.
Yeah.
Tightened it up, and away went. I mean, it wasn't a 30-minute fix, but we got her. So, but that was the only breakdown I had. So
we didn't have too much trouble. The coupling on your PTO gear case to your hydro on the old 21, we stripped it out last fall. So we replaced the coupling or whatever, but the shaft was getting a little bit worn. So we had the hydros gone through while we'll redo that in the off season, which we did. And then it was to no fault of their own. The control valve in there, something went wanky with that, and we wouldn't have had to take the hydro off in retrospect, but they didn't know that at the time. They're like, well, bring us the whole thing and we'll test it. And it took them a while on the test bench to get it to act up. Once it cooled down, it was fine on the test bench for a while, and they finally ran it long enough, and it showed its face, and they replaced that. And,
Yeah.
well, we didn't lose that much time over it. Wasn't too big a deal. We got it off and on pretty fast. So other than that, we had a pretty good.
I don't know if it's just whether it's social media or with the fact that it was so dry this fall that it made news quicker. But I've probably seen more combine fires this fall than I've ever seen. And it wasn't like they were just burning because it was dry out. I mean, like, people actually had bearings or whatever go out. That, I mean, I know a couple X9s that burnt to the ground. I mean, just weird shit.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine that his caught fire a couple of times, and they finally found there's some shield on the feeder house you got to take off. It packs full of trash in there. This would have been his third season on it. And so they'd replaced some stuff in the feeder house, went back to the field, still was doing it, was dropping fire. Then they got to looking in one of the forums or something. The guy's like, hey, pull this shield, it'll be packed tight. And his was, and it was sitting there smoldering.
Yeah.
So they dug it out of there. He's like, so I guess once a year we got to pull that out and dig it all out. So.
Yeah. And I will admit, for as dry as it was, which luckily, for whatever reason, we didn't have any wind this fall. Like normally we get them windy days and it just blows like, I mean, it was probably the calmest fall I can remember wind-wise. So none of the fires got out of control as far as burning hundreds of acres down. At least here they didn't.
Yeah. No, here they didn't. Honestly, it wasn't windy until the temperature changed.
Yeah.
We didn't get any, like I would have cleaned the combines up and put them away. The weather was nice, but it really was never windy enough to blow them off.
Yep.
Like I like to do that on a day where you don't want to be outside.
Yeah, a day like today, but it's cold and nasty.
Yeah, where, the wind carries the dust away from you and you keep turning the combine and blow it off good. But yeah, there wasn't any major field fires, thankfully. But
I think this drought for us was worse than 2012. It hit later, so it didn't affect the crop like it did in 12. But, man, I was rebuilding some waterways with the dozer right after harvest. So, it had been I don't know, around the 20th of October-ish, maybe a little bit before that. So I was taking the ripper down the sides of them. I mean, it was so damn hard you couldn't hardly get the dozer through it. Well, then you couldn't hardly get the ripper in the ground to rip it to get the dozer through it. I mean, it was a bastard. But once we got that 2.5 inches of rain, man, the ground chiseled nice. I mean,
all this stuff I worked this fall after that rain, that's the last time I can remember working ground right in recent memory. Like, it seems like in the spring it's always too wet and we're slopping through it somehow or another. In the fall's similar or a toucher on the dry side, but after that rain, it worked really, really nice.
This had been the year to run with them inline rippers if you're into that. I mean, it would have shattered good, I think. But
yeah, I agree. It would have been nice, and it's still really not wet out now. I mean, it's been mist and rain off and on the last 2 days, but
I think I've only had 3/10 total in 2 days.
It'll be fine in a day or two. I think I could go again if you wanted to do some more tillage.
Yeah, but I don't think there's really anything left around here. Even I'm going to say 95% of the double crops are cut. I mean, you might see a field here or there, but
you'll see the occasional field of corn. I drove around a little bit in the last couple of days, just going and getting stuff, and I'm assuming that it's a BTO that hasn't got to that neck of the woods yet.
Could be
any of your, I won't call them smaller guys, but guys that are closer to home generally, like all their stuff's gone. There's not much crop standing here. And
I know you go 40 miles south, there's a little more just because they were way wetter in the spring and replanting and everything else. But I think most of them guys are about done. So.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of lines at the elevators or anything like that.
No, there wasn't. Nope.
You knock 20, 30 bushel, 40 bushel or more off the top end, and that frees up a lot of trucks fast.
In fact, which I didn't haul much grain to town just because I was in the combine, but I don't know if I took 10 loads. I never waited in line a single time ever. Yeah. So, that kind of.
Now, and the elevators, to their credit, are starting to step up now, finally. Mm-hmm. Our local elevators, which I'm super thankful for, because there was a long time in there that they really hadn't changed much since we had a 715.
Yeah. Yeah, they've spent some money. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, they have. And they're upgrading more from there, Yeah. Because you got to be able to take it or nobody going to show up. So.
Yeah. Yep. But no, overall it was a pretty good fall. I'm not going to complain. So.
It is what it is. Nothing you can do about it. It's safe and everything went okay. And so I can't really complain.
Yeah. I have caught rumors of guys that I didn't think would quite retire yet have went ahead and pulled the plug. I think the prices and the inputs scared them out, but
Well, why take the risk of losing it? If
Yeah, I don't blame them. I mean,
we complain when guys farm too long, and now we're like, well, you guys are getting out a little early.
yeah, exactly.
We're never happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't blame
But
them.
I guess I will admit that most of them that I know they're getting out ain't the 80-year-olds. They're still going. These are guys that are 62, 65. They're like, yeah I'm done.
Yeah. Why take the risk?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing super cool coming down the horizon. It's not super optimistic. And they're like, well, yeah, maybe I'll go ahead and stop now.
Yep. Did you hear any feedback on the new Case AF11 combines? I don't know how many of them was in the countryside. I mean, I know there was a few, but I mean,
I haven't heard a ton. One of our good friends in our group text there was an AF10 running by him, I think. And he's like, a truck goes by every 10 minutes, but that's about as much feedback on some of that as I've got.
I will admit, like on the X9 and stuff, and I'm just using that as an example because I didn't realize this is what they were doing. So a friend of mine, Andy Dole, lives 20 miles north of here. He goes by a Trippy Farmer on YouTube, got a big YouTube channel, and they've got an X9 1000 with a 12-row on it, and they're in really good dirt up there. 250 bushel corn's common for them. And, in 250 bushel corn, they're pushing a 12-row, 7 mile an hour, that thing.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize they were going that fast. I mean,
a friend and I were talking about this the other day. It's like everybody's a little bit mesmerized by this X9 and, the AF 10, 11, whatever. I'm like, Lexion's been doing that for a while, but there's no, in our immediate area, there's not really any of those around here on the massive scale. My problem with all those big combines is like, what's your backside market for them?
Yeah.
Who you gonna sell it to? If Sloan's come out tomorrow and said, hey, Tony, we're going to give you this X9 1100 to use. It's free to use. Only caveat is you have to run it at 75% capacity.
Yeah, I'm out.
You just got to tell them thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
Yep.
Even if they don't want you to run it at capacity, you're going to go like hell for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then haul for a while, and then go like hell for 10 minutes and haul for a while. Like,
well, and I guess what too, now you got to have new heads for the X9 and stuff, right? So the guy that's got a 6 or a 780 that, maybe he's on the fence about trading. It's like, well, I guess, this X9 is cheap enough. Well, fuck, now I got to buy new heads. I wasn't really planning on doing that. So,
which makes it a pretty salty
deal.
And I think that's where you're going to see, more equipment color change this year than you've ever seen, just from a financing standpoint. Like guys that are used to trading, but things are a little tight. Those companies always run a little bit of a bounty for competitor stuff. So if you've got aftermarket heads, let's say, that are a touch more universal, you got a little more freedom to go one way or the other. I think you're going to see even more with those guys because they can switch easier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
But I don't know. I just don't think all these companies want to make big, big, big. And I get that. It's cool and it's neat and I love to see them. What are you going to do with it 2, 3, 4, 10 years from now?
Yeah.
Combines, a buddy of mine just explained this to me the other night, and he's not wrong. Alex Kerr, that was on the podcast here a while back. Combines have a straight line path from the dealership to the salvage yard.
Yeah.
Like that's the one piece of equipment that's where it's going eventually. And what happens in the middle can vary, but that's where it's going eventually. A lot more combines end up in salvage yards than tractors, et cetera, et cetera. Like you can refurb some of that and get by for a while. What do you do with one of those giant combines once it's got 2,000 hours on it? I mean, a classic example, maybe this isn't a great example, but you take an 8010, even an 8120, whatever. You can buy those things for half what you can buy a 2588 for.
Yeah.
Because they're big, but there's a little more maintenance to them. Those guys can't run them at capacity. They're smaller. They can't afford to keep them in the field for whatever. Like there's not as much market there. I maintain that Case and Deere both screwed up majorly. Combine should have never got bigger than Class 6, maybe 7. You want to farm more ground? That's fine. You just buy an extra one. All the ground in the United States was being farmed by 9610s and 2388s at one time.
Yeah.
We were covering all of it. Mm-hmm. There's less acres now than there was then. We're just trying to do it. Eventually, a combine's going to be so big. Well, this is the guy in the county that has a combine.
Yeah, that's
right.
right.
When he gets here, he'll do the harvesting. You know, and the parts are so expensive. And
I just find it odd that you can go buy and I'm just throwing out numbers here. Let's just say it's a D10 cat dozer, the brand new, biggest and the best. And I have no idea if that thing costs $2 million. I have no idea, but I guarantee it's not cheap.
Yeah.
And, they'll run them things for 10 to 15,000 hours.
Yeah.
But a combine, you'll spend almost the same money, whatever, and like 3,000 hours. Or guys tell me they're junk. I don't know that they are or aren't or whatever, but.
It's funny you mention it that way. Like, basically, from what I am told, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but from what I understand, on an X9 between 400 and 600 hours, that's $100,000. You're going to spend $100,000 on it if you want it, quote unquote, field ready again.
Jesus.
I'm like, so you're telling me I give $1 million for this thing, and in 500 hours, let's just say, I got to spend another $100,000 on it? Like,
and if you're farming enough, you're over halfway there the first year.
Yeah. Or if you fell into the trap of, well, we can replace your 2 machines, possibly your 3, with 1, you for darn sure put those hours on it. And now you're telling me that I need to spend at least $100,000 on it. And by the end of the next year, yeah, that needs to go to somebody that farms like 800 acres a year. Wow. That's not going to buy it anyway.
Yeah,
the math doesn't math, but nothing in ag makes sense anymore. Like, we talked about this the other day. I'm like, why is it that a guy working on a semi that costs $150,000 or $200,000 makes X number of dollars more than a tech that works on a combine that costs $1 million? That doesn't make sense.
Right.
But that's the way it is from what I gather.
Is some of that, I don't know if you'd call it gouging. I guess there could be multiple things at play. So I guess most guys that take a truck into Rush Truck Centers or whatever, that's the big one around here, your Schneider, your JB Hunt, your Sherwin-Williams is footing the bill on that, where I think, does it just go across the desk and it's just like, well, the truck blew up, got to pay it. And if you're 1,000 miles from home, it's like, well, it don't really, we got to pay it. I mean, how else are we going to?
There's probably some truth in that too. Yeah. And there's a lot more trucks than there are combines,
Yeah.
But it just, I was talking to a guy the other night too. And it's like, I think in 17, 18, 19, somewhere in there, like a 780 was X number of dollars. And I don't know what that is. I don't remember what the number was he told me. But now that same combine is 200,000 to 300,000 more than that. How? I mean, I realize inflation happened, but it didn't inflate. It shouldn't have inflated that much.
But don't you think it comes back to basic economics? As long as guys are buying them, we have no reason to lower the price, right? Because I'm sure they're selling damn near everyone that they're making.
I mean, I was just on Case's website the other night where you can build and price and compare, which I realize is always like the high end of the spectrum. Like I get that's not what they actually sell them for at the dealer.
It's MSRP.
But still, that's what they're listing it as. A 7160, which is a 2388 in a really cute dress with a bunch more horsepower, but it's essentially a 2388, which half those components or more, the tooling should have been paid for on those in about 1980, So the profit margin on those should be pretty substantial, and you should be able to keep the price pretty low. But it was in the upper 7s, low 8s.
Really?
List price on it or whatever. I'm like, for essentially a 1480.
Yeah.
Like there again with panels that move real nice.
So if it listed for that, I mean, it's still going to take you $450 to $500 to buy it, I'm assuming, or more.
You would think. I mean,
Jesus.
What I don't understand is you look through some of this stuff and it's like, okay, this combine's got 2,000 hours on it and they're willing to sell it all for this. Okay. When you look at what the list price was on that, you start doing the math. Somebody lost a whole bunch of money in there.
Yeah.
Like hundreds of thousands of dollars in there. They act like 1,000 hours on a combine is equivalent to 300,000 miles on a car now.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, 100,000 mile car, like, oh, you just didn't want it.
Right.
Now that has faded off a little bit. Like 100,000 mile car doesn't scare me at all.
No, me neither.
I mean, I realize everything's got more expensive, and you're not finding local Joe's Auto Repair that's going to rebuild the motor. You're just putting a crate motor in it from Ford, Chevy, Dodge, whoever. If something does happen, but you honestly don't hear about those major breakdowns that often unless it's some major glitch like GM has with their whatever engine now where they break cranks or whatever it is. But like the math just doesn't work on all that.
No, you're exactly right. But I still go back to that. So I'll give you 2 examples, the no-till drill and the row crop bean head. There was a point in time where name your price on them because everybody wanted them, right?
Yep.
And of course, I guess these kind of one precedes the other.
Yeah.
One killed the other, basically.
Yeah, more or less.
But there come a time in there, to where everybody got away from that. So, they had brand new row crop bean heads up at John Deere that were 10 years old still sitting there in crates that they were damn near giving away. And so that's where I'm coming back to everybody bitches about the high price of machinery. Well, that's a prime example. People quit buying them, so they basically gave them away.
Yeah.
And combines or anything else are the same way. If you quit buying them, the price should come down.
You take the 750 no-till drill. And I'm not a Deere guy, but take the 750 no-till drill, which was a very popular drill. They were all the rage. You had to have one, and they were X number of dollars. And then they got to where, like I said, it's like, well, I could trade it in, or I could just park it in an old barn because they're not going to give me anything for it. It's not worth anything. Well, now there's been a small resurgence in some of that stuff because, like, well, I'd like to have one of those for a waterway or for a little bit of weed or whatever. So that stuff's come up a little bit from what it was. I mean, plows are no different. I mean, sure, plows used to get hauled off for salvage, but they've got a nostalgia factor to them now, and people want them to match up with their old tractor or whatever. But, good quality, simple iron never dips that much.
Right.
4440s, as much as I'm not a 4440 guy, but let's take them as an example. They've never been super cheap.
No, never.
Proportionally. Like, they just haven't been. Cheaper sometimes than others. Nice ones bring more than there's plenty of rough ones that you can buy for a little bit of nothing because they're literally too rough to use, but a nice one's always brought good money. Higher and lower from different times, but then you throw in this newer stuff and it's like, but at what point do we cross in Deere world? I'll say it. Well, let's call it the 8000 series Deere. Once you get newer than that, are you really getting that much more?
To me, you're not.
I mean, I don't know that you are. Early edition MXs till now, like, are you really getting that much? Well, like, a bunch of that shit's creature comforts. Like, I looked at Ford Expeditions and Navigators here a while back. Half those features on that list, the previous owners never used in their life, and I probably wouldn't use it either.
Yeah.
Like, somebody paid great money for that feature. Most of them don't even know how to turn it on.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know what it does.
Yep.
Couldn't run it if you paid them to do it. Like, so we're just throwing shit at the wall because we got to be we got to be above the next guy, right? We got to have all this. And I'm not even saying the consumer, the manufacturers are driving some of that. I don't know. I don't think you're getting any more done with some of those features as, I don't know. I just don't think the average, for sure, the second and third tier guy is not using most of those features.
Yeah.
The big guy might be using that machinery link and connecting all this, that, and the other. Who are you going to connect it with? If I drop off 2 of those tractors today, who's here in the office watching those on a monitor?
Exactly.
Nobody. I mean, so at what point is that $10,000 item or $20,000 item or whatever just a waste?
And how much of this stuff really truthfully is wore out? Let's just take a 780 John Deere combine, pick your year, and let's just say it's got 2,500, let's go with separator hours, 2,500 separator hours on it. I mean, is that thing really a raging pile of shit at that point? Now, I get it. We're just going to say the guy who had it took care of it, and I know it's going to depend on how fast was he driving, how many, but it's still hours are hours, right? You ran X amount of hours through this combine. Or is it just a mental thing that everybody thinks it's a piece of shit?
The combine thing's a little, it intrigues me on the fact that I'm not in the new combine market. So that doesn't really affect me probably, other than it makes me curious. But it's like, you talk to these guys, it's like, man, I just know what I'm going to do next year. Why is that? Well, I don't think I can roll my combine next year. Why not? Well, they're going to want more money. Okay. But I can't be broke down. Okay. Have you ever bought a new one that didn't cause you some trouble? Well, there's always some growing pains, this, that, and the other, especially if it's a new model, whatever. I'm like, so you're broke down anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it was under warranty, but you paid money for that warranty. You paid all the money for that warranty up front.
Exactly. They're not just giving you the warranty.
I can tell you how great I love my Snap-on tools, but I dearly know that I'm paying for that lifetime warranty 100% up front.
Yep.
And that's super great if I break a wrench, which I've literally probably never done in my life with a Snap-on. I don't think I've ever broke one of them. I mean, you can wear them out, you can round them, you could do some things to them, but like, you're paying for the warranty up front. So I'm like, you're still having some trouble. I think the amount of little things that the average American farmer now is not willing to do.
Oh, it's mine.
Repair wise, which should be good for me. If I had the manpower for it, would be astronomically great for me, because it's to the point that people want to treat a combine like a city person treats their John Deere lawnmower. I want you to pick it up in the spring. go through it, bring it back to me. I will mow my yard 25 times. I want you to pick it back up in the fall, winterize it for me, drop it back off. If you could store it for me, even better. And then get it, make sure it's all greased and ready to go for spring, and I'll go again. And they've adopted that mentality. And it's like, oh, you had a bearing going in your combine? Well, what did you do? Did you lease one?
Yeah.
No, I took the 2 hours and replaced the bearing. Well, we can't be down for 2 hours. Really? Because you spent 2 hours trying to program the radio stations into your King Ranch.
Exactly.
But you didn't have 2 hours to put the bearing in, right?
Yep.
Like the things that people are not willing to do boggles my mind.
Oh, it is. It is unbelievable. And they've all got these giant gargantuan shops, and they work on nothing in their shop. It's just a big toy box.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, I've had customers, and electrical stuff can be frustrating, but some of this was as simple as, well, the fan shuts off. I'm like, okay, did you try swapping the relays? Maybe the relay's getting hot and kicking out. Well, I'm not doing that. Like, you won't open the fuse panel and literally unplug a relay and unplug a different one for the windshield wiper that you're clearly not using and swap it and see if that fixes it. No, I'll just worry about it later. It's cooling off out there now. It's not a big deal. I mean, okay. And that would be great if I had the time to run on all those little short calls to send, but then you send a guy a bill for it. It's like, well,
yeah, now he's pissed.
That was a $7 relay. Yeah, but somebody had to go out and do it, this, that, and the other. You don't want to spend that money, but you don't want to do it yourself either. And I'm not advocating for them guys to do it themselves. I hope they keep calling me.
Yep.
But it baffles me a little bit, to the point I saw another podcast where I can't believe Tony changed the auger in that combine, It's like changing an auger in that like blew their mind a little bit. I'm like, I had a customer of mine tell me a few years ago, he's like, it must be super nice to farm the way you do. I'm like, how's that? He's like, something breaks, you just get your toolbox out, and you fix it, and you go again. I said, well, I'd much prefer to do it the way you do it. He's like, well, how's that? I'm like, something breaks on your farm, you just call somebody, you get something else for a while, somebody else shows up and fixes it, and you just go again later. Well, I hadn't thought about it like that. I'm like, that seems like a way better deal if you can afford it.
No kidding.
I don't have to touch anything. My biggest concern is I can't find anybody to blow my combine off at night. I got to get dirty doing that. It does baffle you a little bit on some of that.
This has always been my thoughts, and I can't tell you how many people tell me that I'm wrong in thinking this way. I would rather have a little bit bigger equipment for what I farm. And I'm not saying 24-row planters and shit like that. I'm just saying I don't need 2 planters, 3 field cultivators. I don't need all this shit. I would rather have a big tractor, big field cultivator, and a tractor and a planter.
Yeah.
And then 2 guys can do it all. And everybody, you're better off to have 2 field cultivators. What if that big one breaks down? Well, big deal. Then you stop and fix it. What if both your little ones break down? Or more often than not, for guys like you and I that fix it ourselves, generally this is a big enough failure that you need an extra set of hands, right?
Yeah.
So now your second field cultivator is stopped to help you work on yours, so you're still not getting nothing done. So
there's 4 more bearings on the rolling baskets on the big one than there is on the small one.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, you just change the bearing and go on.
Yeah.
But they're just crippled.
I don't want the maintenance of, now I got 25 batteries to keep charged, 60 more tires to fuck with.
Yeah.
I just don't roll that way. Now you got to have more drivers. I would just rather have a little bit bigger.
You got guys that want the backup for the backup for the backup.
And you can't do that.
And my dad was a little bit that way. And I suppose I am to a certain degree, but I think once some of those guys, a lot of times it's your older guys, like they farmed with so much junk, and then like a little better quality junk got cheap enough. They're like, well, we can afford to have one of those just sitting there. Are you really going to drag out a 2-wheel drive tractor and this 21-foot field cultivator that your dad bought new that you haven't used since Jimmy Carter was in office? Are you going to drag that out? If this goes down, are you going to drag that out?
You're going to take the time to walk away from this one to go hook all that shit up and dig it out.
Because it's faster to put the bearing in the big one and go again. Like, you could have a catastrophic engine failure on the 4-wheel drive. You could. But generally, if you can afford the $40,000 repair on that, you can probably afford the solution to keep going.
And to me, that's where I would rather roll the dice. And we're actually fortunate here in our immediate area that if a big tractor goes down with a catastrophic failure, either Deere's going to bring you one or go right to Barker's. Josh Weekly's got 100 of them sitting there, and he's going to tell you, pick whichever one you want, get in it and go.
Yeah.
And that's
you can find a way around it.
Yeah, I don't know.
You would think all these guys are literally in Australia, 500 kilometers from the nearest anybody. And maybe Australia's not that way. Maybe that's a poor example, but that's how it seems to me at some level. And it's like, well, there's just no way. Like, we got to have something set in here to go. Like, these guys act like they're going off to war.
Yeah.
And if they run out of ammo, they're going to get shot. So they just got a cart, 3 extra truckloads of ammo. I'm like, I don't think it's quite as big a deal.
Yeah.
But, every year, like, we got to get done quicker. And I fall into that. Like, I like to get done too. And I don't know why, because it's the funnest job I've got.
Exactly.
Like, running the combine's the most enjoyable part of my life from a work standpoint. So why do I want to rush it? But I do, when that hydro deal happened, I contemplate, I'm like, will we go get the other combine? Do we, switch it around? My brother Scott, we'll just pull it off. It's no big deal. We had it off in an hour and a half sitting in the back of the pickup truck. It would have taken longer than that to go get the other combine, swap it around, so on and so forth. Like, it really wasn't a big drama, but that's just not the mentality anymore.
You know how it is. I mean, you guys got a lot of tractors, and a lot of it is maybe more collectible stuff, sitting in sheds and whatnot. But you know how it is. Every time you go get on one, the fucking battery's dead on this one, tires flat on this one. And I don't want them headaches.
I bet I would hate to even add it up, Tony, on what I've gotten just in trickle chargers.
Yeah.
Because my brother and I finally got tired of all that, so we put a trickle charger on everything, so it's always charged up. Well, now if the power flashes on some of those trickle chargers, it runs the battery dead anyway, which is super handy.
Yeah.
So now you have a trickle charger that you've paid $100 for.
That you think's charging,
but it's not, because the power flashed, and turns out the battery's dead anyway. So you're still either swapping a battery or getting a jump pack or something, getting it going, so on and so forth. Like, it's great to have all that stuff hooked to something. So, if I want to ditch, if I want to do this, so I can go do it, blade, whatever. But then you go to get in it, well, it won't go. Now I despise hooking and unhooking. That's my least favorite part of farming. It just infuriates me to have to hook and unhook. It's not a bad deal if you got two guys. One guy, it's a huge pain in your ass. I don't care what you're hooking up to. It's a huge pain in your ass.
Yep.
Which brings me to another point. I often wonder what manufacturers are thinking when they set some of that stuff up. Like, how many implements have you went to hook up to where they've got this little hose rack where you put your hoses right over the jack?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to hold the hoses with one hand and
bust your knuckles
as you run the jack. For one, hey, dipshits, how about we run this to a bulkhead connector? So the hoses from this bulkhead to the tractor are 4 foot long, because that's the hose that's going to get tore up. Then I don't have to replace a 35-foot hose.
Yeah.
I can replace the 4-foot hose that the quick hitch got into that I still can't figure out why I have on the tractor, because I don't have any 3-point implements that go on the tractor. And the only thing I'm using it for is to run a bungee cord around to hold the hoses until it droops down and tears them off anyway.
Exactly.
And then I hit my head trying to unplug them repeatedly over and over.
Quick hitches are the most handy and unhandy tool I've ever been around.
Oh my God.
They're always in the way.
Always in the way. I swear to God, they never standardize the dimensions on them, because I don't have a single quick hitch that interchanges with any implement. It doesn't seem like they're close, but not quite. You grab the next one, it's off the other way. It's like they got random guys, and one guy's making his in metric, the other guy's making his in standard. And
to me, if they want to do anything quick with the quick hitch, make the whole entire 3-point quick hitch from the tractor. Where I can set the whole 3-point off the tractor.
Get the hell out of my way. Yeah,
because I get it. Some planners are 2-point. You got to have it, but make it so you can take the 3-point off of them.
Well, I blame IH for all this, because the 2-point hitch was way better than the 3-point hitch, but they wouldn't sell it to Deere. And then, voila, we end up with a 3-point hitch, which sucks compared to a 2-point.
Right.
Well, the 2-point hangs kind of low. Yeah, it did when you were on 26-inch tires.
Yeah.
But when you're on 50s, the 2-point would be plenty enough out of the way.
Yeah.
But whatever. There's a bunch of that little stuff that could make life so much easier.
Does this new stuff have backup cameras for the drawbar or not?
I don't know. I assume some of it probably does.
Yeah. Because
I don't have anything.
That's always the hardest part, trying to see the son of a bitch from all the shit piled on the back of the tractor.
And those auto pins are supposed to work, but they kind of do, kind of don't. My bigger complaint, like I said, is just the hoses and the jacks and whatnot. Like, there's got to be an easier way for that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
every jack's got the same problem. Somebody pulled forward, it egged the pin out, the pin's bent, the holes are warped, it tore the little tab off. You're cutting that off, welding a new one on. The jack's screwed. It's got a grease zerk on it. Nobody's ever greased the damn thing. The cap popped off the top. Now it's full of dirt and corn. It won't jack up or down. Like, that's the shit that tears me up. Instead, we're inventing technology that is shit that people are never going to use. Yeah. Do you know a single son of a bitch that runs the deal where you push one button and it downshifts twice, raises your implement? I have played with that and played with that. I can never get that to time out the way I want it to time out. Yeah. And then I have the mental thing partway through trying all that. I'm like, well, if I'm literally too lazy to push the switch and click the button, I should probably just go home.
Yeah. You've only eliminated one button. I mean, you still got to push the other ones.
Yeah.
I mean.
Like if I'm that lazy, like, you know, it's not like you're back on a 1256 and you're trying to pull two remotes and run the torque and run the throttle and so on and so forth. Like,
once again, it's one of those features. It's like, nobody ever used it. Yeah. And I know I've went down this rabbit hole before, but I'm like, draft control. There ain't a single guy in the world with a 9RX that needs draft control. If there is. Not in the U.S. there ain't.
No, not in the U.S. No. Which I maintain the European market always screws our farm equipment up anyway. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a whole bunch of dumb shit on there that we don't need or want. You know, take a loader tractor, pick your color. I don't care. You want a 120 horse front wheel assist loader tractor right now today. And you want to move bales with it. You want to rake some hay with it. Maybe put it on a grinder mixer or something for a little bit, so on and so forth. It could be 2 foot longer, but they're not. We're all cramped in there. I don't know if their sheds aren't very big over there or what, but all that shit's made overseas. There's not a single guy that makes one of those in the United States. You got to pull the loader and the brackets off to change the oil in the damn thing. They could be 2 foot longer. They used to be longer than that. Why do they have to be so compact and short?
Yeah.
They don't get around any better, and you can't work on them. You know, I was around one the other day. You had to change the fuel. You had to take the fuel filter off to change the oil.
Yeah, and the vast majority of guys ain't getting in tight stalls to clean out horse pens. They've either got a skid loader or their barns are bigger, whatever.
Exactly. And they're not getting 120 horse front wheel assist cab tractor in that barn to begin with. Mm-mm. If they got the money for a new one of those, they should build a new barn.
Agreed.
You know, set it up better.
Yeah.
I don't understand some of the little stuff like, and once again, not to pick on it, but like, we've got a generation of engineers that are so disconnected from the actual task. And maybe farmers told them they wanted these features. Maybe the company thinks we need these features so we can sell this over because this company doesn't have these features. So we're just coming up with shit for the sake of coming up with shit. But I don't know that it's any better.
No, I don't think it is. In fact, I know it's not.
You know, I mean, is it nice to have hydraulic deck plates over manual ones? Sure. That's a usable feature.
Agreed.
Kind of. I don't know anybody's using it from a law standpoint. They claim they are. It's more from I need to clean this out real quick. I can open them up and dump it and slide it back in. And
most guys
instead of getting out of the cab, like I don't know that anybody's actually monitoring that so close from the cab where they're dialing that in Nat's ass. They're picking number 2 seems to be where it likes it. Oh, it didn't like it in that spot. We'll open it up to 5, dump the shit, slide it back into 1.5, go for a while. Now we got to edge them out to 2, back where we were and go.
Yep, exactly.
Like, I don't know that we saved any corn doing that, but it was better than having to get out of the cab. Yep. I get that. But how many guys have you talked to in the last 2 years that all have the same bitch? Well, I was having this issue with the combine or the head or whatever it was, and the damn grain cart guy just sat in the tractor and watched me the whole time because he didn't want to get out of the cab either, right?
Exactly.
If you were on an 806, well, you just go ahead and get off. Right. You know, because it's the temperature's the same. You know, so you get off and help because, well, at least then you're doing something. But it's like, this cab's pretty nice. He'll probably get it going here in a little bit. I'll just sit over here. I'll pretend I'm doing something. I'll scroll on my phone a little bit. I bet he gets it going here in a little bit, you know.
Yep.
And some of that shit just doesn't amount to.
I've probably heard more in the last 10 years from guys that trade regularly, whether it's tractors, combines, whatever. I've heard the term, I wish I had my old one back. Yeah. When they get the new one. Not always, but I've probably heard that more now than what I did when I was a kid.
My big combine has power fold hopper. I don't know folded out if it's a centimeter taller than my old combine that doesn't have power fold. I've never folded the old one, but never in my life. I fold the new one every time before I go down the road. Yep. I don't know why. It serves no purpose, apparently. I'm not running into shit with the other one.
Yeah.
You know, I would have to do it to get in the one shed.
Yep.
Would be the only reason. But I fold it every time, I guess, because I've got a switch and it does it, you know. But if I had to get out and fold it down manually, ain't gonna happen,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Some of that shit's just for the sake of doing it, I guess.
It is.
Yeah.
But it cracks me up on social media how everybody's against automated farm equipment, the fully autonomous, but yet they've got every option on their machinery where they have to do anything but drive it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's the big deal at this point? I mean, you just let it go do its thing. I mean,
The autonomous combine settings always crack me up because, like, you'll talk to one guy, he's like, I can outdo that thing. I'm way better at setting that than what it is. Okay. Well, have you put any parameters? You ever double checked? You ever calibrate it? Well, hell no. Well, maybe that's why you're better. But are you actually better? Well, I think I am. Well, have you got out and checked any of it? Well, no, but I mean, looking around, I think I'm better than that. I just shut it off. I couldn't I just didn't mess with it because they never have the time.
exactly.
Don't have time to don't have time to do this, don't have time to do that. We're just going, whatever. How many, I wouldn't buy a new 2-wheel drive truck either.
Right.
How many times has the average guy using the 4-wheel drive in his King Ranch or Platinum?
Very, very little. Maybe more in snow than mud, I will assure you.
More in snow than mud, for sure. For sure. But if you can swing it, you're probably not driving that truck in the snow anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, most guys don't.
Most guys don't. Now, there again, I wouldn't buy a 2-wheel drive truck. I would like to have an old 50s or 60s 2-wheel drive truck at this point, but I'm not buying I'm not buying a newer truck that's 2-wheel drive, and we don't even get that much snow.
No.
But you don't want them when the auto locking hubs come out. You don't want those damn things, Well, goddamn, we got to have this thing's got manual hubs. I ain't getting out.
Yeah,
Well, you could just lock them in, then hit the button. Nah, I ain't doing that. Okay. It's amazing we haven't went back to automatic seatbelts.
I know it is
a feature that they tried to automate that turned out worked terribly.
Yeah.
So they quit doing it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how, I don't know if lazy is the right word or what you want to call it. 40 years ago, you'd gave anything to have any one of them options. You wouldn't have mattered if you'd had to got out and walked around the combine and pushed a button to unfold the power hopper 40 years ago. People would have been lined up to get one. God damn, it won't rain inside that. That's going to be pretty nice. Now if you got to get out of the cab, fuck it, I'm out.
And it's all what you prioritize and what your wants and needs are, I suppose. But we've all got a buddy or two. It's like, well, you can't control your thermostat from your phone. No. Well, I wouldn't even dream of that. After having that, that's so much better. Like if I'm coming home late from work or early from work or whatever, I just hit the old button, and by the time I get home, my house is a little warmer than what I got cold today, so I just bumped it up on my way home. All right, cool. But usually, I mean, when I get home, I'm going to go out and do chores anyway, so I could kick the thermostat up if I wanted to and go out. I'm like, the old round mercury dial? Never went bad. Those things just last forever.
Exactly.
Usually when the batteries are dead, this and that.
Yeah,
Well, you can have the program. I'm like, you guys are doing 20 degree temperature swings, just blowing through money. Plus, you give $1,000 for the thermostat.
Exactly.
But that's a priority to them, and they got to have it, and it's cool, and so on and so forth. And we've all got our quirks on that. Like crank windows never really bothered me. Do I have power windows and everything now? Yeah, because you can't even get a crank window anymore. But crank windows didn't tear me up.
Same.
But I've got people. You put our kids in a crank window vehicle, they'll die of heat exhaustion on a hot day if you park them in a parking lot. They have no idea how to get the window down.
Agreed.
But we grew up in the early versions of electric windows where they didn't work.
Right.
You had about 3 days after your buddy bought one new off the dealership. You could use it for about 3 days.
And you had to be careful because if you went up or down twice on the way to town, you're getting your ass chewed.
Yes.
Don't be running the windows up and down.
Yeah, you're going to wear it out, which was true. They were going to quit.
Exactly.
Or you had to help it. You got to help it go up and down. It's like the durability of that stuff got better, but it wasn't tearing me up. Now it's like, well, this thing isn't auto up and down. Like I have to hold the switch the whole time. Peasant. It's like, I mean, and I'm guilty of it on certain things too. I am. I'm guilty of it on a lot of things, but it also cracks me up on guys. Well, I wouldn't even dream of that. That's $100,000 feature. I'll take it. It quit. It's going to cost me $50 to fix it. Well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, whatever, teach their own. But some of this farm equipment stuff, like they're just making shit up to do.
Oh,
to it
for sure.
At this point.
For sure.
I mean,
it's out of control.
Look at vehicles. And I know I went on this tirade before, but if there's two things that I think somebody ought to be beat to death for on vehicles, it's push to start and adaptive cruise.
Yeah.
Those got to be the two most useless features in my life. The push to start seems great till you realize that the keys are in your wife's purse and she just went into Walmart. Now you don't have the keys for the vehicle, which is super handy because there's no place to put them once you get in the vehicle. And that stupid adaptive cruise. By the time you get to the end of your trip, you're going 10 mile an hour.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
I call it the gas wasting feature because you got to get in the hammer lane. This way everybody's in the left lane because you got to get in the hammer lane 1,000 foot before you get to a semi. Otherwise, it starts to slow down. As soon as you pull into the hammer lane, it drops 2 gears, tries to kick the rods out to speed back up. Well, there went your savings of kicking the cruise control on.
Yep.
Like, my foot's heavy enough. I could just rest it there and probably hold it steadier than that thing's going to do.
Yeah. I was just thinking the other day, I had to take the wife's van to town. And I thought, there's going to be a whole generation here coming up that's never going to get to experience a demolition derby because of the cars. You're going to be able to hit each other someday because it's got all these stupid fucking features that stops the car.
That ain't no shit.
It's like, well, demolition derbies are a thing in the past. The fucking cars won't even run into each other.
I just saw a TikTok the other day. Guys, like, well, if you take a water bottle and wedge it in the steering wheel here, it thinks your hands are on the wheel, and then it'll drive itself. If you with adaptive cruise, like you don't have to touch anything. It'll just go on its own. I'm like, yeah, I'm all good there.
Yeah. When we was in Germany, we was in some sort of a Volkswagen SUV, looked about like a Chevy Trailblazer-ish type deal. And that was the first vehicle I was ever in where, if you took your hands off the wheel, some bitch would start shaking, and beeping and all this shit.
Yeah. You're right. They won't be able to demo derby any of that.
Nope. That'll be a thing of the past. Yeah.
Yeah. The guy stopped by the house the other day in a 2001 Crown Vic. I pull in the house. I'm like, there's a 2001 Crown Vic sitting there. I'm like, something weird's happening. And the garage door is up. I'm like, this guy snuck into my house. Like, he's lost. So on and so forth. Well, it turns out was my daughter's boyfriend got a work car or whatever. But I'm
nice.
like, you just hadn't seen any of those around on a regular basis for a while and whatnot. I'm like, I didn't know he had it. And I'm like, oh, some old guy's lost and he's wandered into my house and he's probably just wandering around, No, it turns out it was a legit dude. But I'm like, I was glad to see it, that thing will run 5 more lifetimes, if they don't get all beat up in demo derbies and guys out screwing around. But
yeah, Cash for Clunkers ate up a lot of that cool shit.
Yeah, unfortunately it did.
A lot of trucks,
Yes, it ate up a bunch of it. Yeah. And you think about some of that, it's like, oh man, I wouldn't do that in that vehicle. And it's like, well, somebody used to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they were newer then, but somebody used to pull a livestock trailer from here to Oklahoma with a 67 something.
Hell, that old 03 Buick of mine that just beat all the shit, 185,000 miles on it. Hell, I took it to South Dakota. I mean, I just get in and go. I don't think nothing about it.
I'll give you credit for that. You'll hop in. I'm the same way. Like my old 7.3, if you give me that's what I'm hopping in. Now, if it takes somebody with me, I got to clean it out for a while.
Yep.
That I just fit in it. It's all broke into my ass. Like I just like the way it feels.
To some degree, I give $300 for that car and have never spent a dime on that. I mean, not a dime. And I just look at that as if I'm going to South Dakota in it and motor takes a shit, that's no problem. Just sign a title and leave it in the seat. And it's yours. I'll catch a flight home. I mean, take a nice vehicle. It's like, well, fuck, now I got a tow bill. I got to get this thing home.
Gotta get it fixed.
Next thing you know, you got $5,000 and just getting it back home. Fuck it.
Yeah. I just saw a Facebook post from a acquaintance of mine's wife or whatever, and her BMW had quit and had to have it towed like an hour and a half to the dealer. It was under warranty, but it was a huge pain in the ass, and she drives too much to have something that, so few dealers. This, I'm like, well, no shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, pick something a little more common, a little less of a cluster to get fixed, Yeah,
it'd be like driving a Ferrari around here. Where the hell are you going to take it to get it worked on?
Yeah, the salvage yard.
Yeah.
It'd be about the only place. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't like shit like that. That's a little more specialized. It's not my jam.
Well, it's fine if that's your Sunday car. But if you're going to try to put miles on one and go here and there, like there ain't a lot of BMW dealers around here.
No, there's not. Nope, that is a fact. Yeah, I don't know. It just makes you wonder where this shit's going to stop. I'm wondering when everybody else is going to jump on the Fendt bandwagon and do away with the steering wheels in combines. I mean, it's got to be coming. Everybody seems to like that feature.
Yeah. How did you like it?
I thought it was neat, boy. And great big nice leather seat, big old tall foot pegs. I mean, it's literally like almost sitting in a recliner. You just kick back, got your
Now,
feet
do you
propped
steer
up.
it with one remote and run the
Yeah,
header
so-
features with the other?
So it's about like an excavator. So once you sit down in the seat, the whole left armrest flips down. So you like an excavator, you got to flip all that shit up, get out. So that's how that is. When you go to get out, you flip it up.
Okay.
And then when you get in, you flip it down. There's a joystick on the left, and then just normal hydrostat and everything else on the right.
And it turns fairly normal with the joystick?
It's a little bit. I don't know if jumpy's the right word. And I don't know if you can change them settings in the monitor. I mean, hell, you can change everything on a Fendt if you could make it more or less responsive. I think it would be a complete bastard going down the road personally, as far as
I could see that.
once you get any, because that thing will run 26 mile an hour. So, I mean,
Combines are dangerous to go down the road anyway.
yeah, they are.
And they're hard to drive without a head,
Yeah,
in
they
my
are.
opinion.
But in the field, I mean, yeah, I think it's one of them, just nobody's used to it. So I think it'd be one of them, if you literally spent 8 hours in it, I think you'd catch right on and,
Yeah, probably
and go.
so.
And most of that shit now is getting turn automation. So even then, you're not lining nothing up. You're just pushing the button and it's doing it. So,
Yeah, that's true. When all that stuff works and it's calibrated.
yeah. But it is nice not having a steering wheel for whatever reason. I mean, you just literally
Which that is the one thing that's my one piece of advice. That's my tip for the day, Tony. Whatever piece of equipment you've got, whether it's your combine, your tractors, whatever, take the time when you don't need it that bad that day and calibrate all that shit.
Yeah.
Especially if your stuff's more than a couple years old. Like calibrate it when it's new, which generally the dealer will do for you or should do for you, et cetera. So you're good for a little while, but once that stuff gets a little bit of age on it, recalibrate it. It will work way better.
Yep.
But nobody wants to take the
I've
time
always
to do
done
it.
that. I have about wore the owner's manual out on every combine I've ever drove, tractors, all that, just flipping through them in the off season, check this, check that. And I generally don't have much trouble.
I can assure you, if you got an MX Case IH, if you recal the remotes in the 3-point, you'll be so much happier.
Yep.
Now, it's a pain in the ass to do just from the fact that you got to get it super hot. You can't hardly do it in the winter because you can't get it hot enough to do it. But if you take the time to warm it up and cal all that shit for normal field operation, it all works way better if you're talking stuff that's, at this point, 20 some years old.
Right.
Hadn't been calibrated for 20 years.
Yep.
Well, that switch has been back and forth a few times and needs to relearn that. But nobody ever wants to take the time to do it.
Yep.
And I'm just as guilty as anybody else. I'm not saying I'm immune to it, but it does work way better if you cal it all.
It's amazing how many people don't even mess with tire pressures anymore.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I always check tire pressures before season, most of the time during season. But I mean, I've walked up to combines,
Yeah.
and I mean, you can just tell by the tires that tire is low. I mean, you can just tell, but nobody cares. Just drive.
Just drive. And take a paint marker and write how much PSI is supposed to be on it.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
Then you can check it real easy. Oh, that's supposed to have 16 pounds in it. It looks a little low. Oh, put my gauge on. Yep, it's got 12. Yep, I should air it up.
Yep. They forget how much weight.
Because they're not going to look in the book. And I will say the book's a little confusing
They
as
are.
to what you should have for tire pressure in there. Basically, you got to come up with the pressure on your own. You got to read what's on the side of the tire, read what's in the manual, and pick your poison somewhere in between. But yeah, as you can ask my family, I'm a tire pressure Nazi.
Yeah.
To the point that my daughter's little car, I bought this little deal that plugs in the cigarette lighter. I'm going to buy a couple more for my trailers. You screw the valve cups on them, and it Bluetooths to it, and it tells you the tire pressure, which actually works really, really well. Because she had a tire that would go down occasionally over time. Now, if the alarm goes off, she knows, hey, that thing's low, Now, when it first got cold, it was 1 pound low, and she wigged out. I'm like, it's 1 pound, you're fine. But as soon as it got off a little bit, but that's its job.
Yep. We're in that transition time right now. Tires are changing every day because
Absolutely. But it's like I had this one trailer. I'm like, you walk up to the trailer, the tire looks fine. No problem. You put a load on it, well, the one's low. Okay, air it up. Next time you grab it, it's not low. Time after that, you grab it, it is low. It had a slow leak in it, but it would never leak to zero. It would only leak down to low with a load, but empty, it seemed fine. So I'm to the point I'm about ready to grab another couple of those systems and leave the cigarette lighter piece with the trailer, and you plug it in, and then you know what the tires are in it,
Yep.
Just because it's a pain in the ass, they're back to being too lazy to check them. But
I just look at, tractor, combine tires, shit like that. They're so damn expensive. It's like, I don't need to be busting sidewalls or wearing tires out 3 years prematurely. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. Guys are, looking at the Amish or whatever, with the batteries and tires or whatever. I'm like, well, you can't maintain a Christian attitude with a flat tire or a dead battery.
No, for sure.
Because those two things send me through the roof every time.
Same.
A tire has one job, and that's to hold air. And I keep fairly new tires on everything, and it seems like I still have a fair amount of tire trouble, which just infuriates me. You know, I'm not blaming my tire guy or any of that, but it just irritates me. And I'm, like I said, kind of a Nazi on the pressure, you know. But like I say, you see a lot of stuff. It's like, oh, yeah, it's a little low. It's no big deal. Hey, this tillage tool isn't running level. Well, those tires on that side are 10 pounds lower than the other side. Exactly. Oh, I bet ain't what's causing it. Well, it damn sure ain't helping.
Yeah.
You know, didn't you say this side's digging in? Yeah, it's digging in. I'm like, why don't you hear the tires up to the same as the other side? Just try that. I don't care what pressure you pick. Just make them the same.
Yep.
Nah, that ain't going to help.
Well, man, a lot of these combines now, you know, you hang a 12-row head on the front and then you get 500 bushel in the grain tank. I mean, that's a pile of weight hanging out there.
Absolutely it is.
But yeah, nobody takes time to check them, or a lot of guys I see don't.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. You know, but it's no different than, you know, John Q. Farmer's like, well, this damn 1066 doesn't shift for shit. Well, no, it doesn't. The linkage has been wore out since your dad was a teenager.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever fixed any of that? Maybe greased it? Sprayed a little lube on it? Well, hell no, I ain't got time for that. But you had the time to pry it out of gear 6 times and bitch about it and call me and didn't want to hire me to fix it. You just wanted to bitch about it like I could magic wand it. Like, why don't you put a couple turnbuckles in it and a new roll pin and call it, maybe someday.
Them tractors will shift like a dream if you fix all that.
When they're new, they shift great.
Yep, and set your red light on your tail light, if you get all that stuff set right.
They shift perfectly fine. But nobody wants to take time and fix it. No. Just go and complain.
I mean, I tend to go like hell when it's time to go, but I spend weeks going through stuff before and don't.
I'll improvise in season to get by.
Absolutely. Everybody does.
But especially in the world of auto steer, I try to get a notepad out or my phone and like, hey, this and this on this tractor needs fixed in the off season. You know, might be as trivial as corner of the headliner starting to hang down. I need to glue that back up or whatever. It might be trivial like that. But next thing you know, the whole thing's hanging down, blocking your windshield. Like, well, this damn thing, I can't even see out of it. Because you didn't do anything 3 years ago when it was literally 2 drops of super glue.
Agreed.
You know? And there again, my stuff's not perfect and I don't get to all that stuff, but I try to make lists and try to get some of it
That's
done.
how
Otherwise, you end up with, we had 2 problems this year, 2 problems the next year, 4 problems the year after that. Now you've got 25 things that need fixed on this. Yeah. Well, to hell with it. I'll trade it for somebody else's shit. Well, they did the same thing to theirs. So now you bought a used one that has just as many problems.
Yeah.
It's just newer with the same problem.
I just don't understand when you go, and whether it's looking through Tractor House, a dealer's lot, whatever. I have never, ever had the reason, like on my 9610, for example, to literally grab the radio and rip it clear out of the console and bust all the plastic on the way out and everything else. It's like, what are you guys doing? I mean,
radios are a huge pet peeve of mine, Tony. When I was a kid growing up with my brother's friends and whatnot, we put stereos in Mustangs and Camaros every weekend. We had all the electrical connections and all the tools and this and there, so that should always come to the shop, right? On the weekend, whatever. That's just what we're doing. Okay. Fine. If you're willing to let me hang out there, because he's a fair amount older than me, hey, great. I'm just glad to be around these guys. Hell, I'll run back to the shop and grab whatever. We're gonna put these in. And the stock radios back then did suck.
Sure.
But in today's world, like, if it's got an aftermarket radio in it, I'm out. In a vehicle, like even like my old 7.3, it's like, oh yeah, it's got this display and it's got all these buttons and it doesn't even have any buttons. It's got a bunch of touchscreen shit and all this shit goes across the screen. No, I'm out. You just give me the stock radio with a knob. My dad always used to bitch, I want a knob radio and a chrome bumper. And I'm like, that's where I'm at in life. Like if it doesn't have a knob for the radio, I'm kind of done. I don't need some little teeny tiny button that I can't push in a tractor bounce into a field.
Agreed.
I don't need it. I want a knob.
Yep.
Like the guy at Case that put the little bump below the radio where you can rest your hand against it and then run the knob. My hat's off to him. That's $1 million feature that literally costs them nothing to do. It just bumps the plastic out a little bit so you can rest your hand, so you can turn it so you're not bouncing around.
Yeah.
Works great.
Yep. Yeah. You could take the radio out of everything. I never, ever, ever listen to the radio. Don't listen to it in this combine, tractor, vehicles.
I don't turn the radio on.
I never, ever listen. I don't listen to earpods. I don't listen to nothing.
I kept telling myself this fall that I needed to delete my phone from the combine's Bluetooth. I was super pumped to do that. And now I'm like, well, that's a huge pain in my ass. I'd rather have my AirPods in. And then if we're at the farm, my brother's going to move the combine or something, I'm in the middle of a call. He starts the combine up to move it out of the way to pull up something else to the fuel bar or whatever. Well, now I just lost my conversation. And those damn Bluetooths on a radio, and Ford Sync is really bad about this. They have so much priority. Like if I walk anywhere near my good truck, and that thing's been running the last 4 days, it's switching to the damn truck, you know, for whatever reason. It's like, you know, I'm on my AirPod. Why are we switching? You know, it doesn't have, you know, it is what it is, but
I never can get any of that stuff to work right anyway, where it comes over the vehicle speakers. It don't sound right. It seems like you're screaming to talk on it.
I just don't have my AirPods in anymore. That's just where I'm at. I like my AirPods. Although I got a new set here this fall because I run my other ones through the laundry, which turns out they'll eventually kind of come back. Not as good as they were before. I mean, they're cleaner, but eventually they will come back to working. But the new ones don't stay in my ear like the old ones did. They've changed the shape. The old ones, I never had any trouble with them falling on my ear. These, kind of a pain in the ass. Now, they connect way better. The other ones, I had trouble, like once in a while, it wouldn't want to connect. All that shit seems like if you've got it connected before the call comes in, you're good. But if you try to connect, I'm getting a call, let me put my AirPods in. Well, maybe it's going to, maybe it's not.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. But these are better about that, but they don't fit in my ear near as well.
Yeah, I just don't run enough of that stuff to know either way, I guess.
So I got those new ones out, and I never wear both of them at once, right? I just don't. That way you can hear what's going on, and you got twice the battery life that way. Well, I was in the old 21. It's a little louder in there, and whoever I was talking to talks fairly quiet. I'd never had the other one in, so I put the other one in. Well, it's got the auto, gets rid of the background noise. I hadn't shut that feature off because I hadn't used it yet. I thought the damn combine quit. Like
Really?
Everything went silent. All I could hear was the other person.
No kidding.
It killed all the background noise. And I'm like, oh, something. Look at the screen, or, you know, look at the gauges. Everything's still going. I'm still moving. Oh shit, it's these damn AirPods. So I go into the settings, shut the filtering the noise off or whatever. All that comes back to where I can kind of sort of hear it. Yeah. We can talk, all good. But yeah, so then I when I was blowing the combine off, I'd put them in and turn that on, so I didn't have to hear the leaf blower.
Well, shit, next time our old ladies and all their friends are sitting here, we ought to put them in and just call each other, and then you and I can talk, and they got to try to talk over the women.
Absolutely. You can filter all that out. You can also turn it up to where it picks that noise up, so you could sit here, pretend to be on your phone scrolling TikTok, and hear everything they're saying from across the shed really well.
No kidding.
Yeah. It goes both ways.
Yeah. Didn't know they had such.
Now, we probably don't want to know what they're saying, because they'll probably just be mad, but
yeah. I'll be damned. Yeah, it's come a long way.
Yeah, technology's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of stuff I'd be lost without, but there's a lot of shit I could do without too.
Yeah. How lost would we actually be, though?
Well,
if you didn't know you were missing it, you wouldn't even know. And how much time do you spend trying to make technology work?
Oh, it's a bunch.
When you could just get by without it if you didn't know any different. Yeah. You know, we got fiber internet at the shop. I finally had to call them yesterday, the day before. I'm like, this thing is slower than shit. Well, let's look into it. And they reset something on their end, and now it's fast again. But I'm like, if I hadn't said anything, it was just going to be slow. Like, it literally was dial-up speed.
No kidding.
At best.
Wow.
Like, it'd been faster to drive back to my house, look it up on Starlink, and drive back, to the point, like, I'm going to cancel this fiber and just get Starlink. I'm like, well, I guess I should call and ask somebody first. And I don't know what the deal was. Because, like, yeah, we got you fixed up. You may have to shut the power off on your router and turn it back on. And I didn't have to do that. Like, today it was great. It was fine. But the last 2 or 3 weeks, like, it would spin and spin and spin. I'm like, this fiber's not impressive. I mean, these Rocky Mountains aren't too damn rocky.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm like, we got to do something here. But
and see, that's where I guess my mind is geared to mechanical, because it's like that. Now, what causes that? Like, what?
There's no moving parts.
Yeah, like, what clogs this up to where it suddenly gets slow?
And what are we doing on the backside to fix that? And why aren't we just regularly doing that?
Yeah.
Like, why do I have to call?
Exactly.
This
ain't like water or oil trying to flow through a funnel. Now it's getting thick and it can't make it through. Like, what causes this? I don't understand this.
I'm with you. It is frustrating.
Yeah. I don't know.
Spend a lot of my day just trying to make technology work.
Yeah, there's a hell of a lot of that goes on.
Well, time you remember your password or find your password or reset your password, like how much time have you physically spent resetting passwords?
Oh, Jesus.
There's a year of my life I will never get back
Yeah.
that I have literally just spent resetting a password.
Yeah. And some of this shit, they lock down like Fort Knox. You know, like your Netflix account. Who gives a shit if somebody steals my account?
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't care less.
Yeah. They got more security on some of that than they need. And they can't decide how many characters you got to have. So you can't use the same password for anything.
Yeah.
It is very frustrating.
Yeah. And it seems like smartphones now is the new VCR for the baby boomers. Remember when VCRs come out, nobody could figure out how to work them and set
Yeah.
the clock and everything else. They was always having to call each other and call the kids in. So they got through that. Now cell phones, and I'm not knocking them because half these cell phones I can't figure out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you know, the boomer generation, I know we bitch about them a lot, but like the boomer generation has no patience for that little glitch. And they don't understand why there's a glitch. You know, Dad would always want me to explain, well, why'd that do that? I don't know. I'm not a computer scientist. Like, I don't know. I just know this fixes it. Well, how's that work? Let's take it apart. You're not going to take it apart and figure out there's no mechanical pieces in here. Like, you're not going to know anymore. You're just going to know you got to give it a new phone now.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to know any more about it. You know, but they have no patience for that 2-second lapse of shutting it off, turning it back on. That fixes it. Well, why'd that fix it? I don't know.
Yep.
It got jammed up somehow. Just start there. Zero tolerance for that. Where our kids' generation, like, as opposed to trying to take it apart and fix it, they'll restart that thing for the next 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Every 30
They'll
seconds.
sit there for 2 hours trying to get it going.
Yeah, because they don't have the other side of it. They don't know about the other side. They don't even care about the other side. They're like, well, we just know if we hit Control Delete and drop it from 2 foot in the air every 6 minutes, we can watch 4 minutes of video.
Yeah.
All right, and they will do that.
They will.
Till somebody buys them a new phone. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was notorious. Buddy and I laugh about this all the time. He would spend his entire time at a tractor pull charging his phone. Every time. I'm like, you realize you can just leave that on the charger? Well, yeah, but then I would have my phone with me. Yeah, but like you're spending your entire evening charging your phone, like just, and you're on it the whole time, so it can't even catch up.
Yeah.
And the charger, in the car, he'd always want to charge it. I'm like, there's a charger in a trailer. It's just on. Well, then the car had to be running for the one outlet. So he's literally just sitting in the car with it idling, charging his phone. While he plays on his phone, running it dead as fast as it's charging. I'm like, why don't you just put that on there, go get a cheeseburger, you come back, you'll be good. Nope. I'm going to watch it charge. Okay, if that's what you want to do. Like, I mean, no shit difference to me.
Right.
Maybe charge it up before you go. Like, his phone got to where the charging port didn't work, but the mag charger would work. So then he had to buy all these mag chargers. Well, now he has to lay it down. Well, shit. Now it's hard to play on it while it's charging.
Yep.
Now that's a whole nother level of what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, you could just leave it lay there for a little bit. Take the Kubota for 2 hot laps, see who's here.
There's our $1 million idea. Why don't we make a glove that charges your phone? You know what I mean? Like them things you lay it on.
There you go.
It's a glove, then you can still hold it and play on it while it's charging. There is our $1 million idea right there.
You just, that's better than the weed eater next to the lawnmower.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we are leaving so much money on the table.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's funny how some of those features are just a little bit behind. Like a buddy of mine bought a new Chevy truck 5 years ago, let's say. He's like, look at this, Nick, you lay your phone here, it'll charge it. I'm like, so I set my phone up, my phone was too wide for it. I'm like, well, that doesn't do you any good. My phone won't fit. And I didn't have a current phone at the time. He's like, well, it'll charge mine. I'm like, yeah, you got an iPhone 7. Like at this point in time, we're on iPhone 14s.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
but the charging thing hadn't, they put this in and the vehicle is literally brand new. I'm like, well, that's neat, but anybody that can afford this truck generally has a phone that matches.
Yeah, it ain't caught up.
Age-wise, I'm like, if you got $70,000 for the truck, you probably got $1,200 for the phone, you know? But I'm like, well, I hate to dictate how new a phone I can have based on what the charging port is in my pickup truck, but whatever. I'm like, you see this? This goes into what we used to call a cigarette lighter, and I can charge any phone anywhere. I always buy the 4 or 5 prong cords.
Yeah.
So you can charge anything, Some vehicles are more frustrating on that than others, though. my wife's car. Time I get anywhere, my phone's going to be, I swear to God, that phone, I must be powering the car off the phone. I can hop in with 40%, plug that thing. By the time I get where I'm going, I'm at 30. I'm like, I've had it plugged in for an hour. I don't know where the power went. But my family in general can't manage phone chargers.
Yeah. Oh, same here. I've got mine, and it's under strict orders. Do not touch it. I always know where mine's at, but nobody else can find it.
Nobody else can manage it. And we got to move it from here to there. I'm like, newsflash, these things aren't $1 million. You can put one, like, I guarantee you right now, my brother and I are not moving a phone charger from a single piece of equipment.
Right.
There's a phone charger in every piece of equipment we own, and we bought the 3 or 4 or 5 prong ones. So it'll charge any combination of shit you want to do. Nope, my family can't pull that off. I literally could put, I don't know how many power outlets are in my wife's car, probably 5. At some point in time, I have put chargers at all 5 of those outlets. I bet you'd be hard-pressed to find one at this point. Maybe today, probably not tomorrow. I've been in the vehicle recently, so I know there's at least one. And there should be 2 because I grabbed a fresh one when I got in it the other day.
Yep.
So there might be 2. By the end of this week, there'll be 0.
Yep.
I don't know where they take them. I don't know what they're doing with them.
Every weekend when I come in here on Monday morning, when Bob and all his buddies have been here, and there's 16 phone chargers laying on the workbench right there. And
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
and that must be where they go because they clearly didn't take them with them because they're still here. But I don't know. Mine never leaves.
The other thing I find amusing about that generation of kids, and my kids are the same way. Well, yeah, we're going over to Bob's. All right, cool. What'd you do? Not much. But then I see them over here, and they spent the whole time Snapchatting and texting the people that didn't show up to the party about what they were doing at the party that they weren't really having because they're on their phone the whole time.
Exactly.
I'm like, how about the 20 of you dipshits that managed to figure out where you needed to be and all meet up? Say to hell with the other guys. Put your phones on the workbench on these chargers that Tony's stockpiling over here and just interact with each other.
Yeah.
But no, we got to let this other person know where we're at. From your little snap icon, he knows where you're at, and if he ain't going to show up, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, but they can't pull it off with this equipment. Like,
No. I still contend the 90s was the best time to grow up.
absolutely. It's the best time for farm machinery. It's the best time to grow up. It's the best time for a lot of things. My only regret in the 90s was I was a touch too young to be buying a bunch of farm ground. And the guys that knew they should be buying it still remember the 80s just a little too good. The guys that killed it in the 90s either forgot about the 80s or didn't care about the 80s as much as some people.
A lot of the guys that were killing it in the 90s were they were helping their dad in the 80s, but they weren't running anything. It wasn't really their money on the line.
Yeah.
And if the 80s about wiped their dad out in about 1990, they were ready to roll. The boys were.
Yeah.
It's like, well, let's get this thing up and go and just start buying.
I mean, if my dad was still alive today and a piece of, you were going to sell me this ground around your house and you wanted to sell it to me for $4,000, but God damn it, it's pretty high. Got to remember the 80s. In the 80s, that shit sold for $1,200. All right. You got a time machine? You got a DeLorean I don't know about? Exactly. No. Well, everything else is selling for, more than, still ain't got cash flow. Not going to work. Okay.
Yeah.
They were a little too stuck on that.
Yeah, they was. I mean, and really the only guys that got took down in the 80s were the guys that were over leveraged. I mean, there was guys come out of the 80s smelling like a rose. I mean, if you had money, was in the bank?
Yeah, you were making killer money.
Yeah.
Right? You were making more than your loans were if you had them locked in.
Absolutely.
If you bought a ton of shit in the 70s and had it chewed down a little bit and had long-term shit locked in, you were golden.
Yeah.
They always want to bitch about the 80s, but they want to discount the fact that they made a killing in the 70s.
Exactly.
I'm like, well, if you average that out, you're still pretty good. The 90s were the 70s.
Sure. Absolutely.
There was time there to make hay.
Yeah. And I still don't see how, in fact, I think you said you knew a guy, that when the 80s hit, he had some ground. He wanted to sell it. He wanted to get out from under it before things got really bad.
They wouldn't let him sell it.
Wouldn't let him sell it. So then he ends up selling it a year or two later for half of whatever it was.
And by then, interest had racked up on everything else that didn't get him out of hawk.
But can a bank actually do that? Like let's just pretend we're in the 80s now, and I go into the bank, and you're standing right there beside me and say, nope, I'm going to buy his ground.
Well, all that shit, I think where all that got crosswired, and I could be wrong on this, so don't crucify me on it, but I think where all that got crosswired with a lot of that was it FHA?
FHA, yeah.
FHA back then. And they didn't necessarily play by the same rules as a bank, so on and so forth. But let's face it, a bank can call your note at any time.
Absolutely.
So if your bank calls your note, I don't know 5 guys that are farming next year, like
Yeah.
if they call all of them, but they didn't play by the same rules, and they had a lot of dictatorship over that. Like Dad had a farm bought one time. They wouldn't loan him the money unless he quit his job. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, if I quit my job, I can't afford the ground. Like I can afford the ground because it doesn't have to make anything because I have a job. No. You got to be a full-time farmer and only a farmer for this loan. And he's like, well, what I should have done was quit my job, nod, wink, wink for 2 weeks, got the paperwork done, then went back to work.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have double checked on that, and they couldn't have stopped that from happening anyway.
Right.
But per the rules, they had a lot of funky rules on that, which is why all that got reorged and renamed and changed around. But
Yeah. I just don't see how anybody can keep you from selling anything, regardless. I mean, at the end of the day, what's it matter? As long as you're getting your money back, what do you care what I do with it? I mean,
yeah,
I seen a guy, it was a comment on Facebook the other day, and I mean, take it for what it's worth being a comment, but he said it's been a few years ago, he had a brother or somebody that wanted to buy some cattle or build a small cattle barn or whatever. And the bank was like, he didn't give the exact numbers, but say he wanted to put 100 head of cattle in this building. The bank made him put up like a 400 head building because like, well, it cash flows better, the numbers look better. Like everything the guy had was paid for.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have mattered either way. But, they forced him basically to get bigger. And it's like, well, I don't know if I'd have done that. I mean, not saying it was a bad, like he never elaborated if it was good or bad that he got bigger. But
sometimes if they want you to do something you shouldn't, your gut tells you shouldn't do, you should find a new bank.
Yeah, agreed.
We're very fortunate. We still have a small local owned bank, and I can't say enough good about them.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty rare deal from the buddies I talked to. Like their bank is not owned by people they know. And especially in the ag world, like if you don't have an ag background as the bank owner, you're not, I won't call it lenient. You're not as understanding as the ebbs and flows of that as you probably should be.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate in that regard that we have several around here that are well versed in that and that are ran by people that you can literally, I mean, if you had to, you could drive to their house.
Yeah. And I mean, we've all been there and done it. You didn't really plan on buying nothing. You go to an auction, you end up buying a $50,000 tractor or whatever, and you just call the banker, hey, I bought this. Well, okay, come in Monday, do the paperwork. Like there's no question or nothing. You just.
Now, I think a little bit of that's going to get the reins pulled back.
I think
it probably should.
It should.
Bank's been a little too lenient on some of that probably, and got guys a little deeper than they probably ought to be. But
yeah, I don't know. We're pretty fortunate though.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, I guess the older I get, the more I get like my dad and grandpa. You can see why they bitched about certain things growing up.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting to be the old grumpy man.
Absolutely.
Now on
I 100% am. You ask my kids. I complain about all this. I mean, they didn't hear my dad and my grandpa complain about it, but they complained to me about what I'm complaining about. I'm like, yeah, I'm the same guy. I'm complaining about the same stuff for the same reasons.
Oh, I'm sure if my grandpa would have gotten an 8,000 series deer, there's just too many electronics, fucking shit will never work. And they've actually proved to be pretty reliable. But,
yeah. Ironically, more reliable than the series that replaced them.
Yes.
Over and over and over. Like,
agree.
If you want to get down to it. And I don't know, was that because they had, I don't know when they started testing some of that, but is that because they had 20 years of testing that?
It could be.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know the number there. Or were they so like, hey, we're making a big pivot here, so this thing has to be perfect. So we're really going to do our due diligence on it. I don't know.
And were the components better back then? I mean, because that's where I'm torn because, I mean, my dad and everybody talked about it back then. Oh, just cheap Chinese shit, but the stuff has proved to be reliable on that. But I do think now, we were just talking earlier, breakers in a breaker box.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid or even up to 10 years ago, Square D breakers, just buy them. They were the best. Never had no trouble. Now they're about like a light bulb. You just change it every year and a half.
Yeah. There's no copper in anything anymore. I don't know where all these rare earth minerals are going. Must be into solar panels because they're not going into any of this other shit.
Probably AI data centers.
Yeah, no shit, right? It is frustrating. Like there's literally no moving parts in electronics, and it's the least reliable thing there is. I just told my brother tonight, I was checking with those light switches I was telling you about. I'm like, I'm tearing all the wiring out of my house. He's like, really? Why? I'm like, I'm going to put it all on CAN bus.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, well, it might actually work on something that doesn't move.
Yeah, no shit.
That might be the ticket.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, everything else is CAN bus. Maybe my house ought to be too, you know?
Yeah.
Think all the dumb shit you can make your lights and shit do, though.
Oh, shit. Yeah. That's one thing that they've never really streamlined or got carried away on here locally is like electronics in houses, like
Yeah.
ways to make it easier. Like he was talking, they allow you X amount of wiring in the box
Yeah.
for future to change switches, whatever. But eventually that gets too short to do anything with.
Yeah, absolutely. It was probably too short when they got done with it, you know, because the box is half the size that it ought to be because nobody buys the bigger box, you know. The same electrician that showed up in his F550 four-door long bed with one guy in it is the same guy that left you 2 inches of wire in your box.
Exactly.
And bought the small box for you because, well, he bid the job and, well, shit. I mean, an extra $200 on that job because I didn't put the box that should be in there and the extra wire.
Well, electronics changes so much so fast. I mean, they don't leave any of it alone. And that's probably where I get more frustrated nowadays is they can't leave nothing alone. They'll get something finally dialed in that works right, and then they'll have to, lo and behold, they got to change it. It's like, why did you change it?
Well, because they make money on it.
Agreed.
I mean, for years, take Apple, for years. So we got this lightning plug. It's universal. You can plug it in upside down, backwards, forwards, doesn't matter. Oh, by the way, this new model takes USB-C. I've got $1,000 worth of lightning chargers. Now you're going to go USB-C, which is what I wanted before, but that was Android shit or, you know, non-Apple shit. Now I got to switch it all this. Well, we're not switching everything. The phones are still that way, but the iPad Pro takes USB-C. And the other thing is, like, has anybody ever used that shit and tried to plug it in? Why do phones plug in on the bottom? If you're holding your phone in bed and you want to charge it while you're using it, the bottom is the worst possible spot for it to plug in. How about we put more than one plug on it? Let's try that out. Maybe two. Your iPad Pro plugs in on one side, not the other. Well, that's great if your outlet's on the one side in your recliner. Ain't worth a shit if it's on the other side.
Yep.
So apparently everybody that uses one of those has a recliner with a plug on the one side.
Yeah.
Like this thing's $1,000 or whatever it is. Like we couldn't swing two plugs.
Yeah.
Like I have a pickup truck that has doors on both sides. You know why? So you can get in from either side. Now, obviously the driver doesn't get in from the passenger side, but he could if he had to.
Exactly.
Nope. No, nope. We can't put two plugs. No way we can afford that. Okay. Like, in my opinion, the plug ought to be on the top.
Yeah. Then you can go either way, and it's out of the way.
It's less in my way on the top than it is on the bottom. The bottom is the worst possible spot. That's where it gets bumped. That's where you go to slide in the phone holster or whatever in your piece of equipment or whatever, it gets bumped. Oh, now the charging port's screwed.
Yep.
It's on the top. It never gets hit.
Yeah. And see, I always carry my phone in my pants, and I always put it in upside down with the charging port up because when I pull it out, you're going to hold it up and look at it. You don't have to flip it, right?
Yeah.
So then when it's in your pocket, it's always getting dirt and dust and bullshit in it because it's facing up. And
yeah. Once again, the people that design that shit never actually use it.
Yeah.
Never actually use it.
And I guess the vast majority of people sitting at home on the couch and working a factory job that ain't worrying about it, maybe, I don't know.
I suppose. I mean, if a bunch of that shit works just fine if you're at a desk in a clean environment, holding it with both hands, it works perfectly good. But like all the buttons on my iPhone, they're all the way around the screen, depending on what app you're setting here. And I've got pretty good sized hands. That's fine if you have two hands and you're sitting still. It ain't worth a shit if you're in a combine trying to do whatever. Like, I mean, I realize the target market for an iPhone guy is not a guy that runs a combine. I realize out of the millions of people that have an iPhone, there's like 30 of us using it in a combine. I understand that part of it, but I just think you could make
it 15 of those got roast in, so they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. Yeah. And if you make it any easier for them to call a dealer and bitch about the 10 things that they think's wrong with this thing that really aren't wrong with it, you know, that just ties up the dealer's phone lines. But yeah, some of that stuff could be made easier with very, very little effort.
Who would have thought, the cell phone industry would get as big as it did, as fast as it did? Like, that was a rarity when we were little to have a cell phone.
And look at the changes on, companies that were big that don't even exist now I saw a stat, and it's been 5 years ago now, but the iPhone out at that time, if that would have came out when the iPhone originally came out, that phone would have been $200,000.
Jesus.
The technology had come, was
Yeah.
so far advanced to do that whenever the iPhone came out, which I don't even know what that was,
Yeah, I think 07, I think.
somewhere in
something
there.
like
Like that would have been $200,000.
that. Jesus.
Just some astronomical number. I mean, look at Palm. At one point in time, everybody had a Palm, BlackBerry,
Yeah.
whatever. Like they don't even exist now.
No, nope.
Motorola, same way. They're gone.
Yeah, if these kids could have seen what a bag phone was like, them were the cat's meow.
Yeah, you could get pissed off and throw your bag phone out the window, but the cord would catch it and you could reel it back in. It never dropped a call, just get staticky. Yeah. Yeah. You didn't carry those around with you.
No, you
They
didn't.
were plugged in the truck. But back then, the damn charge port in the truck worked with the truck shut off.
Exactly.
The way God intended it to work.
And looking back, that wasn't a bad thing as far as it was kind of good. Once again, it was the 90s. Okay, so I've got a cell phone in the truck if I need one.
If I need one,
But
I'll
yeah.
go over to the truck. Yeah.
Nobody's hounding me all day and wanting this and wanting that. And
I remember you bitching up a storm. The guy you were working for at the time had a bag phone. He took it with him in the combine. And he loved to talk on the bag phone. And he slugged the combine. And I remember you bitching that night uptown. God damn, everything was going fine. We was jacking around talking on the damn phone.
yeah,
Slugged the combine. Wasted 3 hours doing whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah.
yeah,
We still have that problem today. Anytime I have an issue, it's when I'm jacking around,
Yeah.
trying to talk on the phone, trying to pay attention to the conversation, trying to solve somebody's problem of whatever,
Yep.
and not doing my own shit and getting a bind. And I do love to talk on the phone. I do love to talk on the phone while I'm running machinery. I'm like, my wife gives me a hard time all the time. She's like, "What are you gonna do?" And I'm like, I'm gonna talk on the phone. She's like, "Didn't you do that all day?" "Yeah." "What'd you talk about all day?" I'm like, "Farming." "What are you gonna do tonight?" "I'm going to talk to my buddies that farm about farming while we're not farming because we didn't have time to catch it all today while we were farming."
Yeah.
She's like, "That just doesn't make sense to me." I'm like, "Well, apparently you don't love your hobby that much.
Exactly.
I don't know what to tell you."
Yeah.
But that's
See,
what
I'm
gonna
the
do.
opposite. I hate talking on the phone. Drives me nuts.
Which is why I don't call you much.
Exactly.
I'll text you, but I don't call you. Occasionally I call you because sometimes it's just easier if I'm driving or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do it so much in my daily deal, like it
Yeah.
doesn't even faze me.
Yeah, that's why
I can't hardly drive without talking to somebody on the phone anymore. It doesn't matter what I'm driving. So now if I'm on an open cab 14 and I'm going to go do whatever, well, shit, you can't talk to anybody because it's loud or whatever. It's like, shit, I'll usually call somebody from my house to your house,
Yeah.
which is just enough to piss them off. They're like, "Oh, yeah, what's going on?" I'm like, "I'm just heading Tony's going to do a podcast." "Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about, I got to let you go. I'm here now."
Yeah. Exactly. yeah.
Because that's just where I'm at in life. But I'm so used to it.
Yeah. Especially
that's what I do.
with what with your business. I get it, but yeah, I'm just not a phone talker.
I spend all day doing that. I would hate to think the amount of hours I've logged on a phone. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Well, part of mine too is I don't want to walk that much because when I'm talking on the phone, I go like if somebody calls me like that where I have to take the call, I'll walk 15 circles around this shop. Just keep like I can't sit in a chair and talk.
I'm the same way.
And so it's like, well, I don't want to walk that much, so don't
There's
call
two
me.
things I can't do in my house, and that's talk on the phone and drink beer. I don't have a rule against it. I just don't like to do it. In my house I don't want to annoy other people, even though it doesn't seem to bother anybody else. But so if I get a phone call, I'm going to go outside, generally. And that's probably because when I first had a cell phone, you couldn't talk in the house. You had to go outside because you didn't have service. But I'm going to go outside. I prefer to be standing up. So I'm going to walk around. And if I'm going to bullshit on the phone, at night, I just soon have a beer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to combine the two and go outside and do that. But you're right. Like I put 1,000 miles on walking around outside doing that. Like sitting in the recliner, talking on the phone ain't going to happen.
Oh no, I couldn't do that. If you held a gun to my head, couldn't do it.
Even at the shop, like you said, I'm pacing back and forth, trying to find something I can do while I'm talking on the phone that's quiet enough to do while I'm on the phone.
See, that's always my hang up because then I feel like I'm getting nothing done when I'm sitting there talking on the phone because anything I want to go do, can't run a hammer, can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I just don't do it.
And it depends on who it is. Like certain buddies, they don't care what you're doing, and I don't care what they're doing. Like I got one buddy, we might be talking next thing I know, fuck, he's in the shower. I can hear the water running. And he's good on speakerphone. And he's just, I'm like, all right, we'll just keep talking. It's fine. Like, it don't bother me. 4 minutes later, he's back and getting the, whatever.
Yep.
But I wouldn't do that to just anybody. I don't do it to anybody, but he does it to me occasionally, but it doesn't bother me in the least. That's where we're at in our relationship. I don't care.
It ain't a video call. It's just a regular phone call.
It wasn't a FaceTime. It's fine. But so some of that background noise doesn't bother me. But the other thing that does irritate the shit out of me, like the older generation has, if you're on a cell phone, like that doesn't count. Well, a call come on a landline. Here, Nick, you need to take this call. I'm on the phone, but you've got this call. Take a message. Like, I'm on the phone. Mm-hmm. And I assume that they assume part of the time that some of my phone calls are maybe not critical.
Yeah.
Which would be accurate. But once in a while it is. I'm like, I'm kind of in the middle of something. Like, I don't really have time to talk on the landline, which always ends up being a telemarketer or a salesman or some, random shit that doesn't amount to anything. And I'm like, you could have easily answered that question or taken a message.
Yeah.
And none of it would have mattered anyway. But
yeah. You don't do like the boomers don't put it on speakerphone and walk around.
Nothing infuriates me more than that. If there's 2 jobs I could have in life, Tony, 2 jobs. You want to make my dream career? Here's my 2 jobs. You know those red wiffle ball bats with the big barrel that we had as kids?
Yep.
Job number 1, I walk around and I see somebody talking on a speakerphone in a public place, just yelling at their phone. I get to whack you in the head and knock the phone out of your hand. That's job number 1. Job number 2 is I'm in an F550 with steel welded all the way around it. And when you're in the left-hand lane for no reason, I get to pull in front of you, slam on the brakes, drag you out of your vehicle, and beat your head off the steering wheel and throw you in the right lane where you should have been to begin with.
Agreed.
Those are my 2 dream jobs, if I'm picking. The phone thing baffles me. And then they get like half pissed. Oh, were you listening to my conversation? Hey, numbnuts. The entire airport heard your conversation.
Yeah.
How about you hold the phone to you lazy bastard, or use the iPods that you clearly have that you were listening to music to before you got the phone call? Like, why are we yelling at our phone, giving the whole conversation to everybody?
Yeah.
Like, it's bad enough I got your half. Now I've got both halves. Now I'm involved. Now I want to know why Vicky's, cheating on Sam at the gas station tonight. Like, now I'm invested. Like, where are we going? Like, we got to go find this guy. Does he need moral support?
Exactly.
We got to find him a hooker. Like, what are we doing? I don't understand why we have to talk it on speakerphone. I'm like, those things have like a speaker built into them.
Yeah. You can put it right up your ear just like a landline.
Absolutely. Damn sure can. Yeah. Now, I will say smartphones aren't made for that. They don't work with a shit that way.
Right.
They're not great for holding to your phone or to your face, but they will still work that way. And it's still less garbled than talking on speakerphone.
Speakerphones for me always cut in and out. Like you only get half the conversation.
Yeah, I hate speakerphone. I almost never use it.
Same. The only time I do is if it's a call I have to take, my hands are full and I got to set it down or something, but that ain't twice a year.
I'm to the point, if I don't have my AirPods with me and you call, I'll answer, but I'm not going to be happy about it. I'm going to look for my AirPods real fast or try to get somewhere where I can not have to hold the phone to my face. I sweat. As soon as sweat runs down my cheek, I've just screwed the phone call up. Something's out. I've either muted you, decided to FaceTime you, hung up on you, something bad has happened. That is my one bitch. Well, I've got multiple bitches to iPhones, but my Droid stuff, if you clicked the button and killed the screen, it was out. Didn't matter what you did. It wasn't live again. Not these stupid iPhones. They're still live. It takes the screen away, but as soon as you move it, the some bitch is back. So you can't put it in your pocket if your ass is sweaty, because next thing you know, you've either disconnected the guy, you've made a 3-way call with somebody that's not related to the deal, a whole big cluster. I'm like, when I push the button, I expect all that to go away.
Yeah. I had an iPhone years ago. I'd never go back to one. I've been Droid for, at least 10 years, probably longer than that.
I was a diehard Droid guy. I made the switch just because my kids had iPods and I could message them, this, that, and the other. If either one of those 2 dipshit platforms could hire somebody from the other side, they put the other one out of business.
Yeah.
There's great features on both sides. but neither one of them can put it all together.
My biggest turnoff on the iPhone, and maybe it's not this way anymore, was you had to go through iTunes for frickin' everything, and it was 900 passwords, and it reminded me like Microsoft. Everything was locked, and you had to buy everything. And
That's gotten better, and I will say, like, you know, I buy a new set of AirPods. You pull them out of the thing, bang, it all syncs up. It names them Nick's iPods. I didn't type that in anywhere. It just knows, and it's all good. All that shit syncs up. My iPod, or not iPod, but iPad, all that shit works really well together. They finally, in a few updates ago, almost got their phone book as good as my Droid phone book was in about 2010.
Really?
They finally got it. My bitch is, and I realize this is not anything that anybody else cares about, but I'm a numbers guy and I memorize phone numbers. It's just what I do. That's just how I am. So a lot of times I don't dial from the phone book because that takes 4 hands. Mm-hmm. I don't have that kind of time. So I will just start dialing it, and my Droid would auto populate.
Yep.
So if I've got, you know, X number of 217 numbers in there, it narrows them down. Hey, there's Tony. I can click him. I've dialed part of your number in.
Yep.
Bang. It's narrowed it down to those prefixes. I can click your name, go. iPhone just got that like literally a year ago.
Really?
And I'm like, really? Like, I had that on my Droid 10 years ago or more. The other thing I loved about my Droid, the last Droid I had, well, the last 2 or 3 Droids I had before my iPhone was, so you pick your favorites, right? And I don't pick a ton of favorites, about 10. And so your next 10 numbers, when you clicked your favorites or whatever, or your speed dial shit, it would auto-populate those with the guys you'd called most recently. So let's say I've got 10 favorites and you're not in there. But I've called you 3 times today. You're number 11. And then now I call somebody else 5 times, you're 12. But then I call you back, you're back to 11.
Gotcha.
So you're right there, and they were big icons. So you could easily hit them with your thumb, so on and so forth. Oh no. And not with the iPhone, and if you start to search through your phone book, well, that person's going to pop up every time. When you go to that screen, you got to delete all those out, and just, it's a pain in the ass. And the Droid was endless lists of your calls. Mm-hmm. Well, the iPhone has that data, but you got to delete it. It only stores like 30 of them. So you got to do, if you were the 35th call, shit, I need to call Tony back. I don't have him programmed in. Well, you're not on my list because you didn't make the top 30. So I got to delete out 5 people, 5 calls.
I'll be damned.
For that one to show back up for the number, which irritates the shit out of me. I don't run into that problem all that much anymore, but still pisses me off. Because the Droid, I could just keep scrolling.
Right. That's how mine is now.
I could go back to 2009.
Yep.
Yeah, I called you on a Tuesday at 6:45. Click, bang, dialing you up.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, there again. I mean, probably a first world problem.
Oh, yeah.
But still.
Yeah. Here we are wasting countless hours talking about the problems of our technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, this one ain't necessarily been a marathon, but it's been, it's a hell of a lot more than you guys have had in the last month or two.
Yeah.
So
you just have to deal with it.
Yep. Old dog's standing there at the door. He's ready to go outside and go hunting.
Yeah. He's looking for a possum.
He is. Must be one out there. He's killed a bunch of them lately.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know.
Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We're going to tell you we'll be better. We might be, we might not. It's coming on winter. We'll probably be a little more regular.
We'll be able to bang a few of these out.
Yeah.
Here and there, I'm pretty confident. Yeah. I don't know when the last one was. I'd have to go look at my list. It's probably been, it's probably July or August, wasn't it? It's been a while.
Probably. It's been a while. In our defense, we legitimately sat down twice to do it, and somebody pulled in.
Yeah.
So we did put the effort, kind of, sort of.
We did. Way more than our wives do.
Yes. Yes. You can get your VHS player out to hear their last podcast.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. We will see you next time.